Well, Steve, you queued it up great for William O'Toole's first question, the actual first question. I'm not just saying that to make it seem cool. William O'Toole asks, Dr. Steve, good evening. How is it that Arizona is still counting ballots for Kari Lake's election, but has already determined that Masters lost to Kelly? Also, can you comment on the FTX scandal, which is just as big and important as Hunter Biden? Thank you, Will and Barb in Bergen County.
You guys are awesome. God bless you guys. Yeah. I'm just thinking of, the FTX scandal was gigantic. So that might take a little time to explain as well. So I don't know how much FTX questions we have. So I might just try to wrap that all up into one. So let's start with the first one. And the first one, the answer is it's blatant. Katie Hobbs is stealing this election. Katie Hobbs is counting her opponent's votes. That's what's happening. And the fact that we have a North Korean establishment media that's telling us there's nothing to see here, the very same media that denies their own left-wing liberal bias, suggests this is an outrage that will tarnish Arizona elections and American elections from here on in. And unfortunately, again, we have no one to blame but ourselves, because Republicans wrote these rules. They wrote the rules, and Ducey signed it into law. And everyone was talking about how bad, although everybody on the left was talking about how bad the election reform law was and how discriminatory it was, like Georgia and so forth. But now we're finding out they have all kinds of mail-in ballot prerogatives that states like Florida, North Carolina, Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, West Virginia, Ohio, Iowa would never even touch. So what we're seeing is an election getting stolen right now. Katie Hobbs is slow walking this purposely. The Maricopa County officials there, the Mr. Rogers that Rich Barris has been calling them, saying there's nothing to see here. Everything's going well. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, which we found out, by the way, those guys were actively involved in an anti-MAGA campaign back in 2021. It's getting stolen right in front of our very eyes. It's 2020 all over again. And you would have thought that Republican leadership would have had a counter game plan for this, including Kari Lake herself and Blake Masters. I mean, I know they can't do everything, but and Trump I find Trump a bit to blame here. He's been holding on a lot of funds to Save America PAC. I think he only spent about 20% with Save America PAC. He's been holding on to those funds, obviously, for a presidential run that he's probably going to announce tomorrow night from Mar-a-Lago. But they did not have a game plan. So they seem to assume that election day turnout was going to be massive and overcome whatever shenanigans the Democrats pulled with the ballot harvesting, but it didn't. It didn't seem to work. So that's what's going on there, and the reason why it's all I think the vote for Kari Lake is much bigger than Masters, because she's always been leading beyond Masters' lead. We were hoping she would carry him over. So again, we'll have to see. We'll have to see as things as things play out here. But the problem is, it's all Maricopa County. It's all the votes now are Maricopa County, as I understand. What happens in Maricopa County happens in Arizona, right? Because Maricopa County is by far the biggest county in the state. It's 4 million or so. And if you're talking election day vote, those should overwhelmingly break for Kari. But the problem, as I understand, is we don't know what vote is what coming in. We just know it's Maricopa County. And they seem to have mixed up all the votes in terms of whether it was early vote or election day vote. So that's what I mean when I think, Katie Hobbs is not being transparent here, being Secretary of State, being in charge of counting her opponent's vote. So this is a blatant conflict of interest. It's brazen election fraud, in my opinion. And it's happening right in front of us. They don't even try to hide it. And I think purposely they're trying to discourage us. It's not going to work. It will work for the black pills among us. The black pillars, there's plenty of them. The trolls, they're the what's his name? What's his name from Lord of the Rings, Denethor. They're the steward Denethor, right? Who jumped off the cliff of not Rohan. Why am I Gondor? The kingdom of Gondor. He's the one who just basically the moment Sauron launched his offensive against his kingdom, he just told everyone, go find a good place to die. He just totally gave up. So there's a lot of Denethors, unfortunately, in our ranks. And we're not one of them. We're courageous patriots. That's our identity. We fight on. We're the Aragorns. We keep fighting. And remember, there's a lot of defeats going on all throughout the Lord of the Rings. So we're gonna have to lick our wounds on this one. Be very happy for the victories that we got, but we can never ever let what's happening. I would even add Nevada to that as well. Laxalt, I think, got absolutely railroaded. Even the Lombardo pulled it off. Hopefully, Lombardo can change some of the election laws there in Nevada and clean up Harry Reid's Democrat machine.
Parts that people didn't get answered, and ask those as well. So I'm not just asking you 14,000 questions about Arizona, because that's what everyone clearly wants.
We don't, and that's so Arizona right now. Originally, when the ballot drops were coming in, we knew where they were coming from. We knew if it was election day ballots or if it was early voting. Now with Maricopa, as I understand, it's all getting mixed up. It's all getting shuffled up, and that's why I think there's some foul play afoot. It's all getting mixed up, and we can't, if we know it's election day drop, we know it's going to break huge for Kerry. But we don't know. We don't know at this point. And I think that's purposeful. And so there's going to be a certain level of agnosticism. Again, Rich Barris is still saying she should win by 1 to 3%, but we'll have to see. I don't know right now. I'll be honest with you. I don't have any confidence at all in the outcome of Arizona. Now, hopefully in the grand scheme of things, that's going to make Kari Lake much stronger. It's going to make her a stronger opponent, more viable opponent going forward. But right now, what's going on in Arizona is an absolute and utter travesty.
No, it's really crazy, and I think it's great. Look, there's people that don't pay attention to the news and everything, but the fact that someone can know this is happening and be like, yeah, that's just our country. It's 2022, man, current year. Get with the time. I don't know how people
get with
can
the times. That's right. Any other nation on the planet can get their elections done within hours of the polls closing. We require weeks of counting. And by the way, Arizona took off, as I understand, they took off Friday as a holiday. They took off the weekend. I mean, it's criminal. It's just insane. So they're purposely slow walking this so as to frustrate us and to gaslight this as it was a big Katie Hobbs win, who didn't campaign, who didn't do it because she knew she didn't have to. In the era of ballots, you don't have to campaign. Hundreds of thousands of ballots were already cast before Festerman opened up his mouth and went, "Ugh!" So, I mean,